Hey everyone, it's Rainice. So I wanted to make a video around the Samuel Dubose killing, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm actually going to share a video that I made a few months back in April when Walter Scott was killed. Now, I made this video a while ago and I didn't share it because I was going through my own feelings and emotions, and I just didn't think to share it then. I actually openly admit in the video that I don't know if I'll share this. But after watching the Sammy Du Bois video, I want to share this video that I made. I will say that it's a list of ways to engage with Black people around police brutality on social media, and I made a video for Black Girl Dangerous after the Charleston killings. Um, it's somewhat similar to that. There's a very similar point made in this video out of like the 4 or 5 that's offered. Um, so yeah, I just have a lot of thoughts and feelings about Black people being murdered by police, and I'm gonna share this video, and I'm sharing it a few days after, like after the Samuel Du Bois outrage, but I know that it's only a matter of time before another Black person becomes a hashtag, before there's another outrageous video of Black people being killed by police for no reason. So, yeah, and if you don't know, Samuel Du Bois was a Black man who was shot in the face for not having a license. That was the reason this cop gave for shooting someone in the face. Um, and there was an elaborate cover up, but then body cameras came out to show the true story. So yeah, I'm just gonna share this. I'm gonna add another video that's previously made to it, and I hope you all think about what's being said. Hey everyone, it's Ray. So I'm gonna record this video. I'm not sure if I'll post it, but I wanted to talk about the fact that yet another Black body has been shot and killed by a police officer. An unarmed Black man by the name of Walter Scott was shot 8 times in the back by an officer, and the officer actually like planted a gun on him, and it's all on video. Like a random citizen decided to film the police, and you see this Black man running away from a cop, and he draws his weapon. He shoots him 8 times in the back, and then he walks over and drops a weapon. Yeah, so I don't know how to explain my feelings to people, because I think that there is like a big sense of loss watching Black bodies be killed. And I say Black bodies because I think we often focus on Black men. Black women are killed at the same rate by police. So we just should think about how we frame like police violence as like a man thing instead of like a Black thing overall. And as someone who is trans and is very gender queer, when I walk out in the street, I'm not sure how cops will read me. And seeing this video was really hard because I just planned a trip to New York for 2 weeks, and whenever I'm in New York, the police always read me as a man. I'm always called sir, and I've been stopped and frisked a few times. I'm always suspicious looking, and like if you ever see me in my daily life, I tend to wear like bow ties and wingtips, and like I'm just like kind of non-threatening as like a person. I walk down the street, I'm like normally dancing or singing, and being told I look suspicious is like something that like I've always questioned, because like it was like one of those moments of like not wanting to think that like Blackness was just suspicious, and like realizing no matter how well I dress or like what I'm doing, and like how human I am being, a cop will always see me as a suspicious Black body. But yeah, I want to give people some advice on like how to actually talk, and like talk particularly on social media about police violence and police brutality, particularly pertaining to Black bodies. And I think there's a lot of ways that I see white people who want to stand in solidarity with Black folks really commit acts of violence and trauma without necessarily thinking about it. So I'm just gonna share a few like steps on like how to not do that. One, please stop just sharing videos without trigger warnings or content warnings on people being shot. Something that was very, very hard for me was to watch people share this video of a black man being shot and not trigger warning that. And the reason I say that is because if you are scrolling down Facebook, if you just scroll down and like you're unconsciously just scrolling down, videos just start to play. And if you're not paying attention to it, like you might end up watching a video. So I was minding my own business on Facebook, and I scrolled down, and like as I scrolled down, someone messaged me, so I stopped scrolling and I was reading the message, and I looked up, and I looked up directly at the moment where this cop shoot this black man, and that is really traumatic. Like, I think people don't understand the trauma behind seeing the idea of blackness as a threat. It's like just so triggering when you recognize that like this man was literally walking down the street and the cop shot him 8 times. And to just have to see that, like that's how I started my morning, was seeing that. So be more careful and like actually just think about like, should I actually be posting a video of like a black man being shot in the street? Like, should I be posting that? Especially if you have black friends. And like, yeah, like just think about that. Second, please stop tagging black folks and asking them for their opinions, because what you don't realize is like, yes, we are still living, and like yes, and like that person may not be related to us, but like there is always, for most black folks, there's always just this strong sense of pain that like we need to work through, and we need to work through by ourselves or with people who look like us. Like I do not work through racial violence with white people, like to be clear, because there are just moments that like I will never be able to articulate that pain. Like I am actually going to go out for drinks with my best friend tonight, and I know we're going to talk about this, and like there are going to be a lot of moments of silence, and that silence represents that pain and like anxiety and like sadness. Like it's just a profound sadness around the state of being black in America, but like it's something that is not, it's not something that you can put in words. And I have seen people try to put it in words. Like there is a poet that I know that's local who wrote one of the most beautiful lines about, it was referring to like having sex with a black man. He said, the line was like, I want to take you like the police do, unarmed and sudden, right? And the poet's name is Annette Smith, and in that moment it's like, this is like one of the most beautiful ways of really discussing like why it's important that black bodies love, because we in so many ways don't know when we won't be able to breathe, nonetheless love each other. So it's like like people try, but like there's truly no word in the English language that will ever allow us to articulate the violence on our bodies. And when it's not happening, like, so stop tagging us and asking us to like help you work through your own feelings or your own thoughts or your own concepts. This is possibly the most important one. Stop telling black people that maybe there's like something we're not seeing. And like the reason I tell you that is because at the end of the day, there's almost no reason that a cop has to shoot lethally. There's actually none. And when someone tells me that Mike Brown should have been shot because he was charging an officer, I want to remind you of how many how many white male serial killers have been apprehended after shooting multiple people, right? The Colorado shooting that happened, like this man was apprehended after shooting multiple people. And it's just like, but he did, like, even though he has committed a murder, like he's committed large numbers of murder, cops didn't feel it necessary to shoot him. Even though he had so many different weapons on him that was open, like there was no question if they had the weapons, right? This person wasn't shot. A great example is the Boston bombers. Like these are people who, like, these people weren't shot, and like it's because at first they were perceived to be white, and like very quickly there's some other stuff that happened there, but very quick, like but it was like a perception of whiteness that like let these people be arrested. So when you say that like we're not seeing anything, actually there's nothing to see. There's nothing more to see besides the fact that a white cop, or any cop, actually you don't have to be white to like enact violence against black bodies. It doesn't see that like a policeman has shot a black person, and like because it's just like there are so many other crimes being committed and people aren't being killed for them. So when someone tells me that like Mike Brown deserves to die because he charged a cop, I come back at you with like every white person that I know that antagonizes officers and are not shot. If you come back and say people are rioting and they deserve to be tear gassed, I want to tell you, like, have you seen Boston after the Red Sox wins? Have you seen New York City after like the Yankees, the Giants, the Mets? Like, have you seen these places after like big wins happen? Because if you haven't, maybe you should go check out those riots and like then tell me why those people aren't tear gas. Like, I just need you to recognize that there is nothing that we're missing when we say that people are killing black bodies, because there's no way at any point that a cop needs to kill someone. It's a choice. It is always a choice. And the idea of like bodily threat is really saying this black body threatened me. This blackness threatened me. And we need to like let go of that narrative that like we can only see blackness as violent and as threatening. This is something that like is a really big pet peeve of mine. I need white people to recognize that you can say Black Lives Matter, but I need you to also recognize your whiteness in that. And what I mean by that is, it is one thing to say Black Lives Matter. It's a whole other thing to say we can't breathe. We can't breathe is just not true when a white person says it. When I see white people yelling we can't breathe, I'm like, actually, you can be very fine. In fact, there's a hashtag called Criming While White to remind us that white people can commit crimes and still breathe afterwards. So I want you to think about that before you go, we can't breathe. Because like, it is actually really violent for you to say that, because you are not recognizing your privilege. Like, you are not recognizing that like, you will be fine and you can walk down the street and you can actually commit crimes and like not be killed. So when you say we can't breathe, like, it's not a gesture of solidarity. It's a gesture of saying like, I want to co-opt a movement and put it on my body. And like, you can't do that, because the way that we can't breathe works is talking about black bodies. And the minute that other people uptake that, we are removing blackness, right? We are removing black violence. At the end of the day, if a white person says we can't breathe, you have removed black violence from that movement, right? And that is not okay. Like, it's just never okay to recenter whiteness, or to recenter anyone outside of blackness in this movement. Like, this is a very anti-black. This is like, we're discussing anti-blackness, and like, I don't ever want to pretend that like people who are white and mentally ill are not heavily policed. People who are Latino are not heavily policed. People who are Asian are heavily policed. Like, all POCs do go through like a strong surveillance, right? Mentally ill people go through strong surveillance. Like, people who are Muslim go through a strong surveillance. That does not change the fact that right now we are centering black violence and violence against black bodies. And when other people who are outside of that community yell, we can't breathe, what you're really doing is making this movement, you're making a movement that's centered around blackness, not, right? You are now recentering or decentering blackness. And think about that before you yell, we can't breathe. And I'm sharing this video because I want people to think about what it means to like share things on Facebook and to post like videos and articles, and to not necessarily consider that like how their friends on Facebook are healing. As someone who is black, it is like, it was really hard for the last day to like check my Facebook, because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And like, my Facebook has been like a ton of friends posting a video, and then like a ton of friends being like, can we not post black bodies being shot? Can you think about my body and how I have to respond to that? And I just want us to be more think more about how other people heal and how other people go through that process, and to recognize that like some bodies know that what they're being shown is like, that's a material reality for them, right? Like, and by that I mean, when I see a black man being shot on my Facebook, I know like that is a very, very possible scenario for me. Like, I know that I one day didn't turn around when a cop said, "Excuse me, sir," because I wasn't identifying as a man. And when I finally turned around after he yelled it really loudly, and I was just like caught off guard by someone yelling, I turned around to see him with his hand on his gun ready to draw it. So, like, and this is because I didn't respond to him. Not because I did anything violent, it's just simply because I did not respond to him when he called out, "Sir," right? So just think about what it means that some of us, like the videos you're showing, are actually like something we know can very well be us. Like, we know that we are seriously like one misstep away from being a hashtag, right? So when you share videos that are so violent, think about the trauma that produces, and like also the anxiety, and like be a little more considerate of the fact that you may have friends who are going through like intense emotional crises because of what's being showed and what's happening, right? Like, whether I see a video about Walter Scott being shot, or like whether I hear about it or read about it on my Twitter, like, I'm still gonna have like a deep emotional feeling about it. So like, think about how you're sharing things on Facebook, um, and just really consider like how you can help other people's mental health status by like not necessarily sharing like some very triggering material.